Auburn is headed to the Elite Eight. Yes, sir. We're back. It's another episode of the Barn Hoops Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Rush, and we are ready to get after it. Auburn takes down the Michigan Wolverines 78-65. Just put on an absolute flurry with about 12 minutes to go to kind of put the Michigan Wolverines away in convincing fashion with what started off a little bit rocky. Some would say very rocky. Auburn flipped the switch somehow around the 12-minute mark and just put the Michigan Wolverines away. And they punched their ticket to the Elite Eight for only the third time ever. And the second time under Bruce Pearl. It was an exciting finish to that game. And we're going to dive into all the details in just a second. But before we do that, we got to give a quick shout out to Uncle Keith's Red Sauce Dadgummit. I know Uncle Keith was fired up last night. Go to UncleKeith'sRedSauce.com. Use coupon code TheBarn25 to take 25% off your order. If you live near a Publix in Alabama, you can find it there. If you live near a Piggly Wiggly in the Birmingham area, you can find it there. If you live near just about any grocery store in Auburn, Opelika area, you can find it. But if you don't live close to any of those, go online, buy in bulk, save big, keep sending me the pictures, keep sending me the tweets, the reviews, all that good stuff. Southern salsa, Southern style salsa from an Auburn family, Auburn created. Show them some love, Uncle Keith's Red Sauce. It's good, y'all. Elite Eight bound, baby. Auburn's taking on Michigan State in the Elite Eight. They get a chance to just completely take over the state of Michigan. Get an opportunity to just make Michigan Auburn North, the whole state. As Sunday, or I think 4 o'clock Central Standard Time, they'll take on the Michigan State Spartans. Unbelievable game that they played against Ole Miss. That was one of the more entertaining games of the tournament. The level of basketball is incredible. I know some people are sort of bummed out because there's no real Cinderella story, but the level of basketball and the games that we're seeing are incredible. I know it's chalk. I know it's kind of boring from that standpoint, but the games are incredible. Just unbelievable basketball. Auburn's got their hands full again as they'll take on the Elite, or they'll take on Michigan State in the Elite Eight. All right, let's talk about this game, and I'm going to do it the way I'm going to do it in sandwich style. Okay, we're gonna start with the good, and we're gonna have some bad, and then we're gonna finish it off with some good. Okay. That's how you do criticism. So let's start off with the good. With 12 minutes, I know this is going to sound bad, but with 12 minutes to go, Auburn was down 9 points. Things were looking bleak. And then all of a sudden, Auburn mounts a charge that was so incredibly impressive. They finally started getting some shots to fall. Tahaad Pettiford hit a big three to kind of kick it all off. Then Denver Jones decided to show up and drop some threes and make some tough baskets. Broom hit some tough baskets in this stretch. And then Tahaad Pettiford. My gracious. This will be a game that we remember from Tahaad for a very, very long time. You know, early in the game, Trey Donaldson had a little he had a little one-on-one with Tahaad, isolation, backed him down, hit a little hook shot, did the little you're small, which he did it right to his face, which was kind of, I mean, that's textbook taunting, but whatever. Didn't matter because I don't think he scored the rest of the game, turned the ball over 5 times, and Tahaad did the opposite of that. Some of the shots he was making were just NBA player shots. The fadeaway and one, that was at the end of basically the heater that he was on, close to the end of it. A couple of the layups where he would hesitate and then accelerate, and it seemed like he would take 2 steps from the free throw line and he'd be at the basket. Just too fast. for them to guard. Hitting his free throws in crunch time. He had several turnovers to start the game, but down the stretch, he was basically flawless. I mean, he just basically put the team on his back and just went. He put the team on his back and just took over. We all know or have seen that ability from him. But on this stage, especially after the start to the game, you were wondering if you were going to see it at all. You were wondering if you're going to have to wait till next year to see it at some point in time because the game was just not going in Auburn's favor. But boy, oh boy, man, when he turns it on, he is spectacular. He's not your traditional point guard. He's not going to have, 10 or 12 assists. He is a scoring point guard. He's got to score. And when he gets going, whatever he throws up seems like it's going to go in. The low percentage jump shots are high percentage for Tahaad whenever he gets hot like this. Those mid-range jumpers, boy, they're so pretty. He can just absolutely fill it up. Finished 7 of 14, 50% from the field. He was 2 of 7 for 3, but I don't think he missed one in the second half. I could be wrong. I think that he missed all of his threes in the first half all the way up until that 12-minute mark. And then when he hit that three, I think he hit another one. Yeah, he hit another one at the buzzer of the shot clock in a very important position. Auburn was only up 7 at the time. Late in the shot clock, they kick it back out to him. He drops the ball. And then he just picks it up and fires it, and it goes in. And that's just a backbreaker. It put Auburn up 10, and it basically just made it impossible for Michigan. Made it impossible for Michigan to come back. It was the Tahaad game, man. Tahaad was very, very, very impressive. Janai Broome, not a high percentage of shots, 9 of 21 from the field. Missed a lot of shots, but he hit a big three. 22 points, 16 rebounds, and 9 offensive rebounds. I want to talk about that for a second. One of the weaknesses, if you're going into the game, one of the weaknesses you're thinking is Auburn's got to survive on the boards because they got 2 7-footers. Auburn doesn't rebound the basketball very well. Auburn absolutely punished Michigan on the boards, 48-33 in rebounds. And Auburn had 19 offensive rebounds. So many opportunities Auburn gave themselves to stay in this game when the offense was so putrid, came off of rebounding and defense, but rebounding in particular. Michigan had a ton of one-shot trips, and then Auburn gave themselves multiple opportunities for big shots. It was very, very, very impressive. Yeah, Janai had 16. Dylan had 9, and it felt like Dylan had about 25. I don't know how he only ended up with 9. And we'll talk about Dylan in just a second. Miles Kelly had 6 big rebounds. I mean, we're talking going up high, competing with Danny Wolf and Golden. Big time rebounds. Chaney had 5 big boards. Just crashing, man, crashing and making big plays, erasing trips, and then getting second chance points. So proud of that. And that was from start to finish. That was not the last 12 minutes. That's honestly the only reason I think they could stay in the game, because they were just relentless rebounding, which makes you feel really good moving forward. Have they figured something out? Or have they just ramped up the effort? Let's talk about Dylan Cardwell, man. I think in the tournament so far, he's plus 41. Plus 41 in plus minus when he's on the court. And then you look at the stat sheet, and it's not going to just jump out at you and say, holy cow, man. He had a double-double, or he had this, or he had that. No, he only scored 1 point. He only had 9 rebounds, but he had 3 assists, 4 offensive rebounds, and he played unbelievable defense. Didn't have any blocks, but he made Golden's life a living hell. Vlad Golden scores 16 points a game and has 7 rebounds a game. He only scored 10 points, and 6 of those came from free throws. So in reality, he only made 2 field goals, 2 of 9. The level of play from Dylan Cardwell will be the story, I think, of this tournament run. He's playing the best basketball, I think, of his career. He's putting his money where his mouth is. And to me, that's more important than anything. Putting your money where your mouth is. Hey, if you're going to be a leader, it's one thing to say it. It's another thing to go out and do it. And man, he goes out there. He goes out there. He's going out there these last 3 games, and he's done it, man. Denver Jones, my man, if he scores double digits, go home. 20 points, 4 of 7 from 3. Auburn shot poorly from 3. Denver did not. Denver hit like 3 in a row in the second half after that 12-minute mark, and really helped charge that run. Perfect from the line. Auburn didn't shoot a ton of free throws, only 18. Shot pretty well from the line, 14 of 18, 77%. That's all you can ask, especially when Broome gets 5 free throws. He made 3 of them. Gillen had 2. He made 1. My man, Denver. Dude's a killer. Whenever he can get going, he's a killer. Auburn needs him to continue to stay hot if they're going to continue this run. Let's talk about the bad here for a second. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. And then we're going to wrap it back up with the good. The good, bad, good sandwich. But before we do that, we're going to give a quick shout out to mybookie.ag. Auburn, hey, great teams or good teams win, great teams cover. And Auburn covered that 9-point spread. If you want to get some action on the Michigan State game, haven't checked the line yet, use coupon code BARN, get a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000, and you get a $10 casino chip as well. Still got some college basketball left you can bet on. You got NBA, you got Major League Baseball, all kind of stuff. You need to check it out. Easy deposits, easy withdrawals, mybookie.ag. Let's talk about the bad for just a quick second, and then we're going to, wrap this thing up with some more good vibes, and then look at Auburn, Michigan State. The first half is one of the worst halves of basketball I've ever seen this Auburn team play on offense. I think 11 turnovers, putrid shooting. I don't think we're above 30% shooting in the first half. Seem to be flat, seem to be not focused. We're dropping balls that we just wide open passes. Started off on the first possession. You drew up a great play to get the game started. And it looks like, to me, a great pass. And Chad just drops it. It's a bounce pass, and he can't handle it. There were fast breaks where we didn't look like we knew what the heck we were doing. Chad, on a fast break, decided all of a sudden he wanted to be a Harlem Globetrotter and throw one behind the back when it wasn't needed, turn it over in a tight game. And all of those issues continued even into the second half. Thought, hey, maybe we'll go into halftime, win at halftime with a 1-point lead, which is a miracle. You come out, and I think you turn over your first possession. in your very first possession. I think what you did was you created a turnover, created a fast break, and then you turned it over again. And it's like, my God, we didn't do anything. We didn't change anything. And it took all the way to the 12-minute mark before the offense woke up and they decided to protect the basketball. Charles Barkley had the most profound statement at halftime. The most important thing in the game of basketball is that basketball. You got to protect the basketball. And Auburn did not. And it wasn't, to me, I didn't really feel like much of it was forced. There's a difference between a forced turnover and an unforced turnover. And it felt like, to me, we had a pile of unforced turnovers, just completely sloppy. And it's like, I know we win the game, and like, don't get me wrong, I'm elated, but this team is just too good for that. This team is too good for that kind of performance in the first half. And if you want to be a national championship team, that can't happen. I know you're going to look at the scoreboard and you're going to say, gosh, Auburn won by 13. They pretty much controlled Michigan the whole game. No, they didn't. At 12 minutes to go, I was thinking the season was over because you've had the whole first half and almost half of the second half, and there's been zero changes. Bruce calls a timeout, and then all of a sudden, Auburn started protecting the basketball, continued to play the defense, and continued to crash the boards the same way. But they just took over. And my only concern is at some point that's going to get you. At some point, you got to come out laser focused from start to finish. Felt like you were close against Creighton. If you want to beat Michigan State, if you want to go up against Tom Izzo, you got to get locked in. You got to get locked in from the tip. Cannot afford, from henceforth, you cannot afford that type of offensive performance. Luckily, Michigan is horrible. And I don't mind saying that. They are not a good basketball team. I don't know how they got this far. They lost their last 3 regular season games. They were middle of the pack in the Big Ten. They got hot in the conference tournament. They're just not that great of a basketball team to me. They're exactly who I thought they were. Subpar guards and very big driven. Danny Wolf's good. Danny Wolf can play. He doesn't look like it, but he can play. He can play. It's frustrating. It's frustrating to see that guy be able to just dominate. He could play. And I'm glad we finally got that monkey off our back and took him down. They're just not that. They're not that good. Auburn should have won that game by like 25 points, easily. Way better basketball team than Michigan. But you dicked around for 28 minutes or whatever it was. Yeah, 28 minutes, and you almost got yourself in a bind that you couldn't get out of. But they turned it around. And we're going to finish it up with a good. There is a level of basketball that this team can play that I don't think anyone can beat. This team can achieve, let me just make sure I say this correctly. This team can play at a level that there's nobody in this tournament that can compete with it when they get there. That basketball that was played from the final 12 minutes, there's not a single team left in this tournament that Auburn can't beat. I don't think there's a single team in this tournament that can beat Auburn when they're playing at that level. They shoot at an incredibly high rate when they're hot. They never don't play hard defense, even when they're playing bad offensively. They play really good defense. And the level of rebounding against those 2 7-footers, You put all that together, and I just don't think there's anybody left in this tournament Auburn can't beat. And I don't think there's anybody left in this tournament that can beat Auburn if they're playing at that level. I'm going to go ahead. I'll make that bold claim. This team is so special. 31 games. You broke the record for the most wins in a single season, beating the Final Four team. You got 4 of the 8 teams in the Elite 8 or SEC teams, and Auburn dominated that league by 2 games. Had a 2-game cushion when they clinched. This team is so incredibly special. And I want them to – I just want to see them be locked in and achieve what they – how I want them to achieve what they deserve based off of their level of play. They're just so dadgum good, and it's such a well-built team. I mean, Chad only scored 6 points. So he didn't even have a good game. And Auburn did what they did. There's so many weapons. Miles Kelly had a terrible game, 1 of 7, but played the dirty, got the dirty point, got the dirty stats, mixed it up on rebounds, had a steal, played tough defense. He was only 1 of 7 from 3. And some of them were really bad. Some of them were awful, like not even close. So you had 2 big weapons that play subpar, and you still dominate. They're so daggum good. This team is just so good. I just could shake them sometimes. Just get locked in, and let's handle business. Let's handle business. Let's put some teams away early, and keep your foot on their throat. And let's win this thing. This is the best chance Auburn's going to have. I mean, this is the best chance Auburn's ever had. Even more so than that 2019. I think they're a more complete team than that 2019 team. Defensively, they're just incredible. Boy, they're good. Auburn versus Michigan State. Basically, look at Michigan and take away the bigs. And the guards are going to be a little bit more athletic. That's what you got. Auburn handled the bigs versus Michigan. They don't have anywhere near the bigs for Michigan State. Michigan State is not – they don't have a very big inside presence. They do have a few more athletic guards that can match up at times, but I feel like very Ole Miss. What's funny is I think that's why the game was so close between those two, because they're so similar. Which team – that game was just like which guard was going to win the game. Padula or, I forget his name, the freshman they have that's incredible. So that's what you're going to be looking at. You're going to be looking at a team that's very Ole Miss-like. And teams that are guard-centric, I love the matchups. Teams that are guards that they rely on their guards to perform, I love those matchups. You got a day and a half, I guess, to figure it out. You got a day and a half to get ready. And then Auburn has an opportunity to punch their ticket to the Final Four, and I guess San Antonio just couldn't ask for a better stay. The stage is set. You couldn't ask for a better layout here. You got a fantastic matchup. I can't wait to see what the spread opens up at. I don't think it's 100% dropped yet. Let's see. Let's see if it's out. 5.5. Auburn at 5.5. So you're favored by 5.5 points in the Elite 8 in Atlanta. The crowd was incredible. Need one more from you. Need one more from the crowd, one more in Atlanta, one more in A-Town. Take down another Big Ten team in A-Town and punch our ticket to the Final Four. And it's going to be a lot of fun should all that happen. So, guys, another great win, another special victory from this special team. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you I hope you weren't as frustrated as I was leading up to that 12-minute mark. Hopefully, we can get it reeled in to where we tip off and we're ready to go. Great game. They fought hard on the defensive end all game, and again, crashing the boards and all that stuff. Very proud of them. Proud of Bruce. Proud of the whole staff and everything. And we'll keep it going. We'll be here again with a reaction Sunday Night Live, no matter what. So make sure you're tuned in. It's another episode of the Barn Hoops podcast and another victory that we get to talk about.